Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am very excited for Godzilla Minus One. However, there is a contingent of fans that are concerned that apparently Godzilla Minus One could portray the US military as the real villains. Now, there's a lot of context involved in this, and it's not exactly clear cut. I think it's important. There's contextual and perspective, and also whose perspective? Is it the military's? Is it the citizens? So we'll dive into this today. Please do hit subscribe if you are new here. Turn the bell notifications on. That would be fantastic. Please do also follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at MrHReviews. So let's take a look, right? Again, just from my own personal perspective, I'm very, very, very excited about Godzilla Minus One. I think the CGI, the graphics, are some of the best we've seen for Godzilla. Even leagues above the monsterverse. Genuinely. And for such a small budget, for it being handled by one person, I think it's nothing short of a masterpiece, just in terms of that alone. But let's take a look. So the more Toho reveals about the upcoming film, the more everyone is blown away. Yes, absolutely. That is the truth. So it's safe to say G fans are excited for Godzilla Minus One. Still, amidst the excitement, there are those who are nervous about the film, in terms of its portraying aspects of the lore. Now, obviously, for those that don't know what Godzilla was inspired by, atomic bomb, Hiroshima, etc., etc. It's okay, not good, obviously, not great. But it's context in terms of who's going to be portraying what as villains and who is the villains in the eyes of, the saviors, the point of view characters of the movie. So, at the heart of a rumor going around, or a suspicion drawn from spoilers that leaked over the summer, is a concern that the real villain of the piece is not the usual giant monster or the G-Man himself. He might even be empathized with as a victim of war as much as the humans are. So Godzilla's jagged scales, for instance, are scars and blisters created by the blast from a nuclear weapon, perhaps. And we know US forces detonated that bomb. A quasi-remake of the original, Minus One, looks like it will be true to the series' roots, but a few things in that scenario, i.e. American influence, could be more pronounced than before. So where's this come from? Well, Reddit. I know. Everyone doesn't like Reddit, but it's interesting. So there's lots of people that are saying potentially it's going to be taken to an extreme. Now, I disagree. I think this will genuinely be fine. I could be wrong, but I think it's nothing to worry about. So the spoilers indicate that there is a hint and fear of the occupying American military being shown in a less flattering light than ever before, and that's putting things mildly. So here's what it's saying, and this is important context. Who's the perspective? So for starters, the Serizawa stand-in, whom we are now reasonably sure doesn't go by that name, allegedly harbours animosity toward America for defeating and crippling Japan before Godzilla awakens. So once that happens, all bets cease and Japan enters a negative state, hence the title. So Minus One Serizawa will become more enraged by this, but the issue wouldn't end there. So fans such as Redditors worry that Japanese people in the story will play the victim in defeat and the horrors of World War II committed by Imperial Japan. In the Far East will be downplayed, if not ignored. So Toho ran into this kind of trouble before with its patriotic portrayal of Japanese soldiers in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Now, this is the thing which I think is important to note. Japanese people in the story, if they're just basic citizens, I mean, they are the victims of war. They are genuinely the victims of war. Every citizen is a victim of their government in a warlike scenario. So years later, Toho would do Giant Monsters All-Out Attack as a standalone reboot, which a more preternatural Godzilla was a manifestation of the innocent lives lost during the war. No matter which way they frame it, Godzilla comes across as Japan's reckoning as he mindlessly rampages. Minus One looks more of the same in that respect. Yeah. Godzilla's an interesting thing to take a look at. It is quite complex. I mean, it was always about the horror of nuclear weapons. Atomic weapons, should I say, sorry. But there are questions of tone and context, and this is interesting. So director Takashi Yamazaki is viewed as a nationalist, and his leanings might show in his work. His country being down for the count in the immediate post-war could be depicted as all America's fault, absent of consequence and causality. The odds are small, but you have to wonder if Yamazaki will engage in revisionist history. I'm looking at this as something not to be too concerned about. Genuinely, I don't think this is pause for thought, anything to be, oh, this is such a problem. I think it's important. I mean, all of these people running away from Godzilla are just basic citizens. So on the bright side, it's more likely we can count on Godzilla -1 being enjoyable and even-handed, whilst also being thought-provoking. The series has rich tradition. True. I don't see the massive concern here, genuinely. And the thing that makes me think less concerned for this being a huge problem is the fact Toho has secured a domestic release. So they were quick to announce, and this is important to take it into account, they were quick to announce, we have it releasing in Japan on this date and this date. Oh, and in the US on this date. And they've been building a very, very good, I guess, marketplace with monsterverse Godzilla. I don't think they're going to want to change that too much. Now, I don't think, if the US military are being portrayed as villains by basic citizens, I think that's fine. I don't see the issue with that, No one likes revisionist history, and I think, when it comes to, I mean, obviously this is a giant lizard running around anyway, but when it comes to World War II, revisionist history is perhaps most egregious because of the atrocities at play and the fact that people don't learn if you start doing revisionist history all the time. I think it's important to have history as it should be. And Godzilla being, I guess, the embodiment of that level of warfare and, how it's such devastation that it can wreak and cause on humanity, I think it's important. I don't think Toho would be so stupid, and I think that's shown in their marketing material to push it out straight away to American citizens. Be like, yep, here you go domestically. And also, you've got to remember, Toho is a pretty big deal with Legendary, and Legendary has their movie coming out the year after. They're not Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Legendary and Toho both are not going to want the brand itself being damaged by any of this kind of stuff, which it could be, but Toho takes a pretty tidy sum when it comes to monsterverse movies, I'm sure. They have final say on everything. I'm sure they get a percentage. I know they have to re-up the deal constantly, and they're not going to want to push Legendary away from re-upping their deal. So there you have it, ladies and gents. Not much else to go into here. People are concerned. I think it's important to sort of quell those concerns here and there. But what do you guys think? Do you think that there is an air of that? And do you think it matters whose perspective it's from? Because US being the villains, I mean, basic Japanese citizens, indoctrinated as they may have been, with propaganda and the like, they would think that America is the villains. And I think that's also an important aspect of war to consider in any film, is that citizens are caught in the crossfire, and unfortunately sometimes they are led to believe things which is, outside of their control, I guess. So let me know what you think down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you looking forward to Godzilla -1? I am. Cannot bloody wait for it. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.